So unfortunately, you cannot completely prevent wrinkles, but there are certain things you can do to massively reduce them. I'm Dr. Raj, and this is Ask a Doc Reddit edition with Roche-Posay. Can you really prevent wrinkles, or is it genetic? Well, definitely there is a genetic component, but you definitely can get photoaging from the sun's rays. So UVA and UVB rays penetrate the skin and can cause breakdown of collagen and elastin in the skin, which then leads to early wrinkling, photoaging, and breakdown of the normal collagen that we see in the skin. And therefore, the best way to protect your skin is to use a broad spectrum, high SPF rated sunscreen. Is tanning ever safe, or does it always cause damage? Well, unfortunately, skin tanning is never safe. So the sun's rays will cause DNA damage to your skin cells, even when you're not burning. However, I do appreciate that a lot of people want to have a nice, healthy looking tan. And therefore, if you are opting to tan, it's really important that you stay out of the direct sunlight during its peak hours, normally 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And if you are tanning, make sure you're using a really good broad spectrum sunscreen. Is popping pimples actually that bad? Well, yes, actually it is. So popping your pimples can lead to inflammation, spreading bacteria, which can lead to more breakouts, and actually can also increase your risk of scarring and hyperpigmentation. So if you have got a pimple and you're itching to pop it, don't touch the pimple. You can use a pimple patch if you like using those, or you can use topical agents that can help to reduce the time in which that pimple heals. Can dirty pillowcases actually cause acne? Well, yes, they can. Dirty pillowcases can build up oil, grime, sweat, and bacteria on the pillowcase, which can transfer back onto your skin, causing breakouts. Therefore, it's really important to ensure that you're taking some easy steps to prevent this from happening. First of all, wash your pillowcases 2 to 3 times a week. Ensure that you never sleep with your makeup on, and therefore there's less risk of it transferring back onto your skin. Also, make sure that you're keeping your hair clean, because oils can transfer onto the pillowcase and back onto your skin, causing breakouts. And top tip, you can also change your pillowcase to silk. This can be helpful because they absorb less oil, there's less friction, and therefore less transfer back onto the skin. Do I need a 10-step skincare routine or not? Well, I get asked this question all the time, and the simple answer is no. You do not need a 10-step skincare routine. Actually, using more products can overwhelm the skin, destroy the skin's barrier. It can leave your skin sensitive. It can cause breakouts in some people. So the best policy is to use a skincare routine that's going to be targeted to your skin issues. Simple, a cleanser, a moisturizer, a sunscreen. You don't need to overdo it. I have SPF in my makeup, is that enough? Now, this is a really common question that people ask me, and the answer is no. So typically when you're applying makeup, you're not going to be applying enough of it to cover the skin as you should to protect it from the sun's rays. And it's really important that to get the best out of your sunscreen, you're using enough of it. So my advice normally is to apply a separate sunscreen to your makeup or moisturizer. And if you find that using a sunscreen is greasy or doesn't sit well under your makeup, it's really important to try something lightweight and that's almost invisible on the skin and works really well. And for me, this one here, the Anthelios, works really well and sits really nicely under makeup. So that's why it's important to use your sunscreen separately to any other product. Do I need sunscreen every day, even indoors? And the answer to this is yes, you do. And this is because UVA rays can penetrate through windows. And if you're at home using your laptop, for example, the light from the laptop can also damage your skin. So if you're indoors, make sure you're using a broad spectrum, at least SPF 30 sunscreen to protect your skin every day. Am I washing my face too much? Well, here are the key signs to look out for if you think you might be over cleansing. So does your skin feel tight? Does it feel dry? Does it feel irritated? If it does, this might be a sign that you're over cleansing your face. Now, typically you might wash your face twice a day if you've got more sort of oily combination skin, morning and evening. And if you've got more dry skin, you might skip the morning wash and only cleanse your skin in the evening. If you are reducing the frequency of cleansing your skin, but it still feels dry, irritated, or tight, then try switching your cleanser. So if you've got sort of more oily skin, you might want to introduce a slightly gentler cleanser, and if you've got more sort of dry skin, you might want to put a creamy or milkier cleanser into your skincare routine. Can stress actually cause acne, or is that a myth? Now, this is something I deal with a lot in clinic, and actually stress can in some cases increase acne and breakouts. And this is because when you're stressed out, you release a hormone called cortisol, and this hormone in particular increases oil production and therefore inflammation in the skin. And once this happens, you end up getting more clogged pores and more breakouts. Why do I keep breaking out in the same spot? Now, this can be really frustrating if you've got a breakout that just seems to keep coming back in the same area. And this is because no pore is identical. So all our pores are different shapes, sizes, and some have larger oil glands than others, and therefore are more prone to blockage, dirt, debris, and having breakouts. So if you're seeing repeated breakouts in one area, make sure you're not picking the spots, because that's going to make the issue worse. So you might think about using specific ingredients, for example, retinoids or beta hydroxy acids, to get on top of that troublesome breakout. But do be mindful, if you can't get on top of it, no matter what you've tried over the counter, do go and see your doctor. Why do tattoos not fade if skin sheds constantly? Well, this is a very interesting question. The reason is that tattoo ink sits in a layer called the dermis, and the skin has different layers. So the dermis layer is the second layer, and the layer above it is the epidermis, and the epidermis is the area that actually sheds. And this is the reason why tattoos don't fade. Can your diet actually cause acne? Now, this is something that I get asked about all the time in clinic. It's really important to note that not everybody who has acne has a dietary component, but dairy and high sugary diets can impact some individuals and give them more breakouts. And this is because when you're consuming dairy, it's going to increase insulin and a hormone called IGF-1, and this leads to more oil production and therefore a more likelihood of breakouts and clogged pores. So if you're noticing that dairy is having an impact on your breakouts, maybe try to eliminate it from your diet and see what happens. Does it improve your acne? And if you find that it's not making things better, then go and see your doctor and see what we can do to help you. Are freckles harmless or are they sun damaged? Now, this is interesting because when you have freckles, you might have them from birth, but these are actually not true freckles or true sun-exposed pigment. These are genetic pigment spots or birthmarks. And then you have the sun-induced freckles, which come from sun exposure, and these do come from sun damage from the UV rays. So if you do see freckles popping up after sun exposure, that's a sign of photoaging and sun damage, so make sure that you do protect your skin with a broad spectrum sunscreen. Do you really need to wear sunscreen in winter? And the answer to this is absolutely yes. And this is because UVA rays, which cause visible aging on the skin, are actually constant all year round. So whether it's cloudy outside or not, the UVA rays can still penetrate through and they can reflect off surfaces like snow, for example. So whether it's cold or cloudy, that does not mean that you're protected from the sun's UVA rays. And that's why daily sunscreen still matters all year round. SPF 30 versus SPF 50, is there actually a difference? Well, the answer is yes, there is. And that's because although on paper there's a 1% difference between the amount of UV rays that it's actually protecting you from, in real life, when you're under applying your SPF, etc., you actually get 50% more UVA rays coming through with the SPF 30 versus the SPF 50. And therefore, with us under applying SPF, with us going in and out of water if we're on holiday, for example, it's really important that we're using a higher SPF rating to ensure we're getting the best protection that we can. And don't worry, you will still tan even if you're using a higher rated SPF. Does sunscreen actually stop you from aging? Now, sunscreen significantly slows down photoaging, which takes place when the UV rays hit the skin and cause breakdown of collagen and elastin, leading to pigmentation, wrinkles, and skin laxity. But what sunscreen cannot do is it cannot stop the intrinsically driven aging that our body goes through, and that is driven by genetics, and it's where the skin structure declines and starts to break down. When sunscreen is applied to skin, what it does do is create a filter and a barrier from the UV rays, therefore protecting the skin itself. So it is still the single best way to reduce the visible signs of photoaging and skin aging. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow for more skincare content. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave it in the comment section below.